You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
When it comes to music, everyone has a totally unique taste. So when a song comes on that perfectly fits your mood, it kind of feels like magic. And at Credit Karma, we do the same thing, but for your finances. We got tired of the financial system giving broad, impersonal, and irrelevant advice to everybody. So we created a way for you to cut through the noise and find offers and recommendations that make sense for your specific money goals. So you know the guidance you're getting is truly custom to you. Download Intuit Credit Karma today and get everything you need to outsmart the system.
Hola.
Hello, this call is being translated.
Abuela, listen to what my phone can do.
Abuela, escucha lo que mi teléfono puede hacer.
Wow. Ahora dime sobre tu novia nueva.
Wow, now tell me about this new girlfriend.
Huh?
Tú sabes lo que dije.
You know what I said.
Language is no longer a barrier thanks to Live Translate with Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. Learn more at Samsung.com. Samsung account login required. Calls must be made using the native Samsung dialer.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Packernet Podcast. I am your host and resident panelist, as always, Ryan Schlip. Check us out online, packernet.com. Find me on Twitter, pack_dadam. Well, we should probably start with the schedule. Not that we know it, but, a couple trickles here and there. We'll see how she goes. Here is what I know as of 8:30 on Tuesday. By the way, today, Wednesday, assuming you're listening on Wednesday, is the day that the schedule is going to be released. I was contemplating, as were some other people that I had talked to, doing some kind of like a live stream, because usually there's like a slow trickle and it's kind of a fun, exciting thing to try to put the puzzle together. And apparently there's a new tradition where Matt Schneidman just tells everybody this is the schedule now. So, so much for that fun. It's like waiting all year for the draft to roll around, and then the pick's about to come up, and you're like, oh, here it comes, and somebody's like, they picked this person. What? A year? I waited a year to see Roger Goodell walk up and say, with the something pick, the Green Bay Packers select. But no, I don't get to experience that this year. Thank you so much. Anyways, week 1, September 5th through the 9th. This is a pretty fantastic week 1. Everything kicks off with a Thursday night football game of Ravens-Chiefs. I don't have a vested interest in either. That's a pretty fantastic football game. I'm not mad about that kicking off the season. Then, Friday, September 6th, we get Packers-Eagles from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Obviously amazing. Which, by the way, can we just pause for a second? Usually the way that this works is you get Thursday, it's some garbage game. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's okay. I don't know. And then you wait until Sunday at noon. Nope. Friday, boom, Packers-Eagles. Then Sunday, at least so far, we have, not sure what time, Steelers at Falcons. Don't super care, but there's a slight chance Justin Fields plays, which would be pretty fantastic. Plus Kirk Cousins, you know what I mean? Broncos at Seahawks. By the way, we haven't really talked about the Kirk Cousins thing. We talked a little bit about, if Justin Fields looks good, it's ha-ha to the Bears and all that stuff, and it's a little bit funny. Also, any other rookie quarterback does better than Caleb and JJ, then we get to laugh at those teams, especially the Bears, because odds are the Vikings didn't have a chance at some of the guys that they wanted, whereas the Bears had the full pick of the litter. But there's also the Kirk Cousins backdrop. Not that they got rid of him because they thought he was bad or anything, but still, if the Vikings spiral, as I believe they will, because, again, they've got some work to do, we're going to be able to kick back, unless Cousins just plays like garbage and looks nothing like he has for the last, decade. We're going to be able to kick back and go, boy, oh boy, look at that guy. Remember when he used to beat us sometimes, but now he doesn't because plays for a different team and we don't care about him anymore? That's pretty crazy, right, Vikings fans? Anyways, Broncos, Seahawks. Not sure I could care less about a game. And then the 4:25, the afternoon, 3:25 Central Time, Cowboys, Browns. Don't care other than, please, Browns, do something cool. And then Monday, we have Jets, 49ers. Now, I've publicly said I am disgusted with the way the Jets have handled things. I find it It's the right word. Let's just say disappointing that Rodgers makes some of the decisions he does. I understand that he's a guy that cares about people. And I think through his prism, he's doing the right thing. He's a good person. But that's also viewed through the lens of, relationships being more important than, corporations, and being in that sort of union concept on the player's side as opposed to the team side. It's sort of this anti thing. So it's just this great big win. He is the great champion of his fellow teammates and stuff, and I'm sure he's proud of his stance and players applaud him for it. But as a fan of the NFL and as a fan of a team, especially one that Rodgers was a part of, I'm not a big fan of that whole strategy, and I'm not on the player's side of things. I'm sorry. I know that's usually you're supposed to take the player's side because they're the poor and downtrodden, these multimillionaires being beat down by the billionaires. But no, I don't think that things should be handled the way that they're being handled by the Jets. Anyways, despite what I've said about the Jets and how I hope that what they're doing does not work out well for them, I want the Jets and Aaron Rodgers to beat the living crap out of the 49ers so bad. I mean, I'm sure some people will pop up and they'll be like, oh, Rodgers can beat the 49ers. Well, guess what? I don't care. I really, go ahead and have that argument if you want to have that argument. I don't care. In fact, it's going to make it even better because Rodgers was a part of that group that got beat down by the 49ers. So there's still a little bit of a like, come on, do it for us, Rodgers. Get them. Go get those. You know what I mean? Plus, screw the 49ers, and it's good for the NFC. It's good for the Packers if the 49ers lose. But if the Jets beat them and Aaron Rodgers gets to drive the frickin' stake through their heart, I know this sounds very confusing with the way I feel about things. I'm a confused person, but it just is what it is. Depends on the situation. And in this situation, Aaron Rodgers is still a Packer. He endured, along with us, all the heartache of the 49ers, and he can avenge all of us. And I want that. I want the Jets' defense to be the greatest defense of all time and make Brock Purdy look like a freaking low-life punk. I don't even know what that means in a football context, but just make him look like garbage, please. Oh, I can't wait for that game. I mean, the 49ers are probably going to win, but still, I'm going to be just such a huge Jets fan in that game. The games sort of trickle from there in terms of what we actually know, but week 2 on Thursday, it looks like it's Bills-Dolphins. So right out of the gate, we're just going to get a powerhouse kind of a game. Usually expect that to be kind of a mid to late season kind of a thing, although they meet twice, so I guess might as well get one done now. But that's going to be obviously a primetime game that's on Amazon Prime. Sunday, week 2, Browns-Jaguars, don't care. But also, Colts at Packers. So again, like week 1 is an away game, but kind of not really because the opponent also is away, so they don't get home field advantage, which is kind of the actual biggest negative of being on the road. Not to mention, there's a very good chance that there are more Packer fans there than Eagles fans. Could be wrong, though. Especially if it's like an Eagles home game. If you have, 3 different contingents where you have Packers, Eagles, and I have no idea. I'm just checking this thing out. I'm guessing I'm just checking this out crowd are going to default to Eagles. You know what I mean? Because that's what you're supposed to do in this game. But then we get a home game against the Colts. We can look into the Colts a little bit at a later date, but I'm not super scared of the Colts. And if the Packers can pull off a win in Sao Paulo, Brazil, against the Eagles, who, let's be honest, they look like complete and utter garbage at the end of last year, and then come home and beat the Colts and start off 2-0, which I think is entirely possible with an away game done, and one of the projected top NFC North teams, that game in the books, not the worst thing in the world. Other games that sounds like we're aware of, got to skip quite a bit here, but week 7, I don't know. Oh, it's a Sunday afternoon game. You got Chiefs 49ers. Go Chiefs. Much as I hate to say it, I don't care. If the Chiefs and 49ers see each other in the Super Bowl again, guess what? I'm rooting for the Chiefs. I don't care. I'd rather have the Chiefs have 500 Super Bowls than the 49ers get one. And then Week 16, super random Sunday game, Jaguars-Raiders. Nobody cares. Week 17, so this is a Christmas Day game. So Wednesday, December 25th, Christmas, Week 17, Chiefs at Steelers. So there's 2 games or 2 or 3 games. No, there's 2 games on Christmas, I think. So with one of them in the books, it makes it less likely that there's going to be a Packers game on Christmas. I personally have no issues with Packers games on Christmas. I made it a tradition very early on in our family that Christmas Day is for our family. So we don't go to people's houses. We'll go Christmas Eve or other days or whatever. Christmas Day, we stay home. And you get all the present stuff and like cookies and everything. That's done very quick. It's like, now what do we do? Presents, cookies, you read the story in the Bible, and then, football, right? It works for me. So those are all the games that I'm aware of. Again, these are going to start trickling in more and more as as tomorrow rolls around. We may get all the Packers games at once, but still, we're going to see the trickle of other games. So that'll probably be a good portion of what we talk about tomorrow is the schedule and kind of how that all looks. But that's all I got for today on that matter. In other news, I mentioned yesterday Tom Brady would be, broadcasting and whatnot. I think, what the heck was that game? Dallas game, right? Something like that. Now we've got news. ESPN signed Super Bowl champion Jason Kelce adds the dynamic personality to Monday Night Countdown. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I understand what they're trying to do. Listen, I give these guys credit for really swinging for the fences. They're paying $1 billion for something that I don't know that they have to do. Maybe they're doing it just because they're stupid. Listen, I don't know if they know this. We don't tune in for the announcers, like at all. You already paid $1 billion to get sole exclusive rights to these. I guess occasionally they're simulcast. I don't know. But the only option I have to watch this game is through your channel. It could be dead silence, and I would watch it. So I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say you're not just stupid. You're doing this because you want the best possible product, and kudos to you. Is this the right direction to go? I don't know. Look, when you think back, let's say we fast forward 10 years, 20 years, whatever. Who are our favorite personalities going to be as far as NFL announcers? Now, granted, John Madden is technically a former player and coach and all that stuff, but I don't know, man. I have a hard time kind of putting him in the same category as what they're doing now, which seemingly is let's get every big name, big personality, or I guess, I don't think Brady has a big personality, person we can, and just see if we can drive up engagement and entertainment. But I don't know. They tried the Romo thing. I think he is the absolute worst at this. I don't have any problems with like Aikman deciding I want to change my path and then just basically becoming that. Again, he's another one that, love him or hate him, I don't see him as getting the job because he's Aikman. He, went through rigorous training to, transition his career. And I think Jason Kelce is just a big loudmouth, guy that already has an audience, and they're hoping that if we just throw money at him and he comes here, then people will like us. And it just feels lazy and pathetic. But maybe it'll be entertaining. I don't know. I just see it as, it's kind of like a lot of other things. Can we just do it right? Just find somebody that's good at this, that knows what they're doing. Like the Manning thing. Some people seem to love that. I don't necessarily understand the appeal. Like, I'm not trying to watch a new TV show. I want to watch the football game. Why do you think I want to watch the Mannings? You think I'm so bored with football that I want to watch a second TV show while this is going on? They have their special guests and they tell funny stories. And, bro, I don't care. Even if there wasn't a football game going on, I'm sorry. I very rarely am going to tune in to listen to football players talk, getting chummy about old times and like some crazy stuff that happened back in my day. Dog, shut up. Football game on. I don't care. I don't know. To each their own. It's the direction we're going. It might have some level of entertainment. Maybe it'll make things better because let's be honest. Even the old announcers, it was kind of dumb because it's like, why can't you guys be like soccer announcers or something? Like, have a little bit of passion in your life. You listen back to some of the highlights, and it's like the Dallas Cowboys, Jiminy Jomnom drops back to pass. And it's caught. The 20, the 10, the 5, touchdown Dallas. My golly gee. Bro, is that it? There's 2 people there so that someone can be color commentary. Like, what? I don't know. Then we go to the far end of the extreme, and it's like, let's get a guy who's going to, like, slam a bunch of beer and rip his shirt off and slap his belly over and over again for random reasons. Like, yeah, all right, let's try it, I guess. I don't care. Again, I kind of just want to watch the football game, but all I want is more or less neutral. It would be cool if you could be more exciting, whatever. But honestly, a good announcer is somebody that just isn't saying stuff that's going to annoy me. I'm barely paying attention to you. If I happen to hear you say something that's stupid, it's all the commentary in between plays that's just annoying. I don't know about that, Jim. I don't know. I don't think that should have been a penalty. I think the Packers got away with one there. I don't know. Bro, shut your stupid face. Anyways, Jason Kelce, Monday Night Countdown. Kelce is to appear each week on Monday Night Football's pregame show. When do it's the pregame. So are the Mannings Monday? So we're going to have Kelce doing pregame, which is appropriate, and then the Mannings doing the game, or is that Sunday night? I don't know. And then Tom Brady is going to be in the mix, who maybe is going to be like a super genius. Maybe he's going to be what Romo was for like 5 minutes before he forgot football and then just forgot everything else. It is crazy to me that it's a multi-year contract. I mean, maybe he's been doing a lot of work behind the scenes already as far as training and whatnot, and good for him for making money. I mean, both of these brothers have done a great job. First of all, getting massively paid with their teams, having very successful teams, getting paid outside of sports. They got the podcast. They've kind of got their personalities and their personas getting built up. And now as soon as they leave, they're getting big. And I'm sure Travis is going to get the exact same thing. But Kelce's going to join Scott Van Pelt, Ryan Clark, Marcus Spears, Adam Schefter, and Michelle Beisner-Buck. Is that Buck? Is that a relation? I don't know who that is. Whatever. I'm not going to watch it. You guys let me know if it's entertaining. Then there was this report, which I found hilarious. It's really sad to me. Again, I know I'm supposed to root for Fields. I wish this stuff was happening while Fields was still here. It would have just made it all the more better. Is that the right? I think that's all the more better. Yeah, sure. This also came out of the Tyler Dunn thing. I should just listen to the whole podcast, and then I wouldn't have to get drips and drabs here and there. But a little story for you, a little story time. The Chicago Bears quarterback room in 2021 was, quote, toxic as hell. Nick Foles apparently attempted to teach Justin Fields, but the rookie was disengaged. At which point, Foles was done trying to play mentor to the rookie, and, quote unquote, they hated each other. What an arrogant person he is. Again, I'm so annoyed with the whole, Justin Fields is a victim of the system. Bro, Justin Fields wasn't ready. He wasn't good. And Nick Foles, who is a very accomplished, very intelligent quarterback, tried to help him. Fields basically gave him the finger, and Foles is like, okay, screw you then. And now Fields his career is done. So congrats on being arrogant and stupid, because now your career is basically over. Maybe give Foles a ring and apologize and say, hey, by the way, how do you do the whole career backup thing? Because it looks like I'm going down that path. And I'd like to at least be able to keep this job, because who knows if this is even going to last. Anyways, why don't we take a break? We'll be right back. We all have smartphones, and we all know they're pretty amazing, but they also can be amazingly distracting, especially when we're around other people. So US Cellular wants us to reset our relationship with our phones by putting down our phones for $5. That's right, a company that sells phones wants us to put down our phones. And to see what we find, learn more at uscellular.com/built-for-us. In the hobby, it's not easy being a fan of ripping packs or repacks. We get all hyped up thinking we're going to get some high-value Jordan Love card, but with zero transparency on available cards and hit rates, it's all just a shot in the dark. Until now, introducing slab packs from arenaclub.com, the only repack that provides real value, a complete view on all possible cards, and clear hit rates for each one. Now when I buy slab packs on Arena Club, it finally feels like I know what I'm getting. And honestly, the best thing for me and my son is the fact that we're kind of novices into this. When I walk into a card shop with my son, and a card says it costs $40, kind of just taking his word for it that that's a good value. So I appreciate the transparency on grading, as well as just getting excited about seeing what you could potentially get. Right now, you can get 10% off your first purchase by going to arenaclub.com/packdaddy. Wow, that's crazy offer. 10% off a $400 slab pack. That's $40 right there. Anyways, that's arenaclub.com/packdaddy for 10% off your first purchase.
When it comes to music, everyone has a totally unique taste. So when a song comes on that perfectly fits your mood, it kind of feels like magic. And at Credit Karma, we do the same thing, but for your finances. We got tired of the financial system giving broad, impersonal, and irrelevant advice to everybody. So we created a way for you to cut through the noise and find offers and recommendations that make sense for your specific money goals. So you know the guidance you're getting is truly custom to you. Download Intuit Credit Karma today and get everything you need to outsmart the system.
Hola.
Hello, this call is being translated.
Abuela, listen to what my phone can do.
Abuela, escucha lo que mi teléfono puede hacer.
Wow. Ahora dime sobre tu novia nueva.
Wow, now tell me about this new girlfriend.
Huh?
Tú sabes lo que dije.
You know what I said.
Language is no longer a barrier thanks to Live Translate with Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. Learn more at Samsung.com. Samsung account login required. Calls must be made using the native Samsung dialer.
All right, so I made a promise to somebody, Mr. Ben Drexel on Twitter X. Yes, I know it's obnoxious to not be able to pick one. I can't. It's weird saying X, but I don't want to say Twitter because it's not called Twitter. Can't make up my mind. I'm sorry. I also feel like I made a decision to not say to continue calling it Twitter, and so now if I say X, it's like I don't know. It doesn't matter, but I don't know. I made a I don't know, just a kind of a random joke about the Chicago Bears and Caleb and all that stuff. And Mr. Ben Drexel says, can you please dedicate a portion of your next episode to laughing at Bears fans in the comments of this video, gushing over some basic slants and quote-unquote release speed? And I said, yeah, I think that's a wise decision. Now, in hindsight, maybe I shouldn't have, but man of my word sometimes when I feel like it. So let's have just a little bit of fun. To be clear, that is all this is. We're talking shorts, t-shirt, and legitimately, I'm pretty sure they're going like half speed. I don't think this is even necessarily full speed. These are just little slant routes. Also should be noted that there are no defenders. There's no pass rush. None of that. So we're asking Caleb to throw, I don't know, maybe 10 yards down the field directly in front of him because, slant route kind of crosses his face. You know what I mean? The first two comments I can't really even say. The first one is something along the lines of, holy F, with about 75 U's. And then he adds, I just, let's just say had a excitable reaction. Very next comment is split into three parts. Ho, Lee, and then the S word. John says, I know it's shorts, but you can see the accuracy and release is night and day from Justin. This is the best quarterback that DJ has played with. I'm showing my age here, but that quick release reminds me of Dan Marino. Yeah, baby. That wasn't me. That was he said, yeah, baby. I'm trying to accurately, reflect what they said. 4 dots in a row, no edit. Dots as in like really accurate passes. It's crazy seeing a Bears quarterback with a fast release. We're so back, it's crazy. This is the first of something truly remarkable. The throwing motion is so clean, each ball right to their chest. Jim says 4 for 4 for 120 yards. I'm going to guess that's a joke. It's a funny one if it is. It's sad if it's not. These throws are beautiful. I can't believe some Bears fans were against getting this guy. Already the best quarterback the league has ever seen. I can't believe we got an elite quarterback. I love Justin Fields, but this video makes me so happy. Anyways, it's on and on like that. Look, the reason I don't really want to do this is I like picking on the Bears because they actually suck. This is more or less petty. We all get excited about this stuff, but let me just make a couple quick observations here, okay? A couple quick little points, and then we'll get out of here. Get off of this point. First of all, the release has nothing to do with Dan Marino. That's nonsense. Second of all, it wasn't 4 dots in a row. Again, not to be nitpicky, but lumping this in with the other one that said that was 4 passes right in their chest, it was not. A couple of them, it was in their chest because they slowed down. That's not really a dot. And one of them was out and away, which is actually probably the best pass that he had, but still not in his chest. And finally, We're so back, it's crazy. What do you mean back? What are you talking about? You talking about back from the 80s? Back from when? Back to what? Back to when you had a good quarterback? Back in, what, your freaking dreams? Anyways. Again, it is what it is, man. I'm going to be gushing over some Packer stuff. It's all in good fun. I understand getting excited. Just, you got to ease into it a little bit is all I'm going to say. Because some of this stuff is all in good fun. Some of it is legitimately pathetic. Like people that are genuinely like emotional watching him throw a football in such a way that really is not anything interesting. I mean, look, he's a good thrower of the football. I'm not going to deny that. He does some crazy stuff. I mean, he's a talented guy. And I will certainly point it out when I see it. This isn't one of those times. It's just not. Beyond that, this isn't really the issue with Caleb. Nobody has ever really said, you put a guy on a slant route with no defense, Caleb can't hit him. That's not really his thing. The problem is reading a field, holding on to the ball too long, fumbles, anticipation. You know what I mean? Like that, and it's okay. It's all right. But for now, enjoy it. Again, it's a little petty, but I promised I would do it. By the way, I've got Marquez Eversole. Looks like he's got a few updates on the Packers' schedule as of a couple hour ago, whatever. So we got, obviously, the Eagles week 1, the Colts week 2. Then on 10/27, he doesn't have what week it is, and I'm not going to look it up. We are at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Then on November 3rd, we are at home against the Texans. That's going to be an awesome game. And then 11/24, November 24th, at home against the 49ers. I can't wait, man. Anyways, why don't we do this? Let's take an early second break, and we'll dive back into it. I want to spend the final part of the show. I talked a little bit about Brock Purdy and Jordan Love and the fact that I don't really want to argue about it because it seems kind of stupid. However, there are a lot of people now trying to rank the quarterbacks, and again, slightly annoyed with it. So, although I don't necessarily have my own ranking, I certainly have opinions on other people's rankings. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Vital Farms. Isn't it bullshit to have to question where your food comes from? At Vital Farms, you can trace your pasture-raised eggs all the way back to the source, the pasture. On the side of each pasture-raised carton of eggs, you'll find the name of the farm where your eggs were laid. And when you look the farm up on their website, you'll get a peek at all the sunshine, fresh air, and open space the hens enjoy. Learn more and find out where to buy them at vitalfarms.com. Vital Farms, keeping it bullshit-free.
This episode is brought to you by CarMax. CarMax is putting peace of mind back in car shopping by putting you in the driver's seat to find a ride that's right for you. Because CarMax believes you shouldn't just settle for a car. You should love your car. That's why every car they sell has CarMax certified quality, so you can be sure, with upfront pricing that's the same for every customer. So don't settle. Find love at first drive. CarMax, the way car buying should be. Start shopping now at CarMax.com.
Hi, I'm going to whisper some things to you now about Crunch chocolate bars, because apparently this whispering thing is a thing that makes you feel things. It's saying something crunchy is coming in the candy wrapper language. Imagine your tongue hiking up those crispy, rocky ridges. Now, drum roll, please.
Wow, that's good. Crunchy, munchy chocolate doesn't whisper.
Turn up the fun with Crunch.
So, for reference, before we kind of get into this, CBS put out an article, don't know who wrote it, Actually, I might know who wrote it. I think I found it right here. This is by Cody Benjamin. 2024 NFL quarterback power rankings. Brock Purdy, Jordan Love cracked the top 10. Daniel Jones lands at the bottom. Jordan Love is at 10. He says, one of the most dazzling watches of late 2023. Love must prove he can rein in his inner Brett Favre as a gifted thrower. But 1 year into his gig as Green Bay's full-timer, he sure looks to have the moxie of a long-term player. His young weapons are still growing too. So I don't necessarily dislike any of it. One of the things I don't like that really annoys me is when people point out like, yeah, I mean, Jordan Love looked great and all, but we don't really have enough information. And then I see, for example, CJ Stroud at 5. Bro, come on. Also, sure to annoy several people, Jordan Love 10, Aaron Rodgers 11. Just throwing it out there. So here's the CBS crew discussing that list of quarterbacks.
I would probably push Jordan Love out of the top 10. I think you have a guy, Dak Prescott, who has played at a high level since he's been a rookie. And you have Jordan Love, who has played at a high level for like half a season. And to me, I guess because I don't feel like Cody's, again, it depends on the criteria and how you want to do it. I don't feel like Cody is attempting to project the season forward, right? He's saying this is a snapshot of where these guys are right now. And while you would probably rather have, like, you would take Jordan Love over Dak Prescott moving forward, I think if you needed to win one game or needed to win in 2024, I think you'd probably prefer Dak to Jordan Love if all other things were created equal, just because of the floor. Love has a higher ceiling. He has a lot unknown. We don't know what he could be. But, dude, halfway through last year, Brian Gutekunst, the Packers GM, who traded up and drafted Jordan Love while Aaron Rodgers was still on the roster, was asked, is Jordan Love your guy? And he's like, I don't know. We're going to have to figure it out this year. He's like, they didn't know. Packers fans didn't know, like, until that grew.
All right, so this is so stupid. First of all, again, we don't know yet, but we do know about CJ Stroud. Okay. Second of all, the evidence is Brian Gutekunst was asked, essentially, is Jordan Love the guy? And he's like, I don't know, we'll have to see. Okay, that's a GM saying GM stuff. But I'm guessing the larger point you're trying to make, while completely missing the mark with that Brian Gutekunst comment, is the fact that there was some question about how good of a player he actually is because he struggled through the first half, right? But then it changed, didn't it? I don't understand the point of mentioning that before he became really good, some people were concerned that maybe he wouldn't become really good. And that's somehow an argument? Isn't the question now, having looked at the full body of work, wouldn't it make more sense to look at, now that we know what happened, where do we stand, as opposed to saying, hey, if we ignore the second half and just look at the first half, I mean, there was a point in time where people weren't sure. Yeah, that's also true of 2 years ago. A lot of people weren't sure. A lot of people were real upset in 2020 when he got drafted. I don't know why we're bringing this up, though. Here's the other thing I don't understand. Dak is at 8. Saying that Dak is better doesn't drop Jordan Love out of the 10th spot. Look, I maybe I'm crazy, but I just wish if people wanted to sit down and actually make serious arguments, for example, why Jordan Love shouldn't be top 10, that they would bring something to the table, anything, other than, I don't know, I just don't really feel it. It just doesn't feel good. Like, you know, like he sort of wasn't that good, but then he was kind of good, but it was like not a lot of time. And then sort of, you know, like totally like, you know, like I'm just not vibing with it, bro. Say anything of substance ever. Bring up like touchdowns or something. I don't care what it is. Bring up any single solitary thing. I mean, I'm open to it. Look, who is behind him? I mean, Aaron Rodgers. You could certainly have some kind of a discussion about that. Tua had a pretty good year. Jared Goff had a really good year. Done it for a long time. Kirk Cousins, whatever. There's a lot of guys here that you could feel slighted by and say, you know, I think technically this person should have been better, therefore Jordan Love. But he didn't want. It was just a matter of Jordan Love isn't top 10. He shouldn't be in the list. Which by itself is so stupid. Just the way that, like, who would you drop out? I would drop out Jordan Love. top 10 doesn't make sense except in relation to other players. You can't just look at a player and go, I don't know, I'm just not feeling like top 10. Like, I don't feel like he's a top 10 guy yet. That's so stupid. It's so dumb.
Great stretch to finish the season, make the playoffs, and then beat the Cowboys and Dak.
Yeah, and Dak. Oh, yeah, whoops.
Fair enough. In the playoffs, head to head, like he was not the guy a quarter of the way through the season or even halfway through the season. So I think
irrelevant.
For me, you need to see a little bit. I think Jordan Love's going to be great. But the fact that he is 12-1 to win MVP is pretty freaking wild. It would be the wildest thing on the board if CJ Stroud wasn't 9-1 to win MVP.
Yeah.
Well, it's really not that wild. Look, I don't entirely hate the I haven't seen enough argument. I think that's fine. If you want to say I would rather take Dak, not because Dak's necessarily better, but because I'm more comfortable that we know what Dak is. Which, by the way, you can't look at what he did last year and say that's what Dak is, because despite his body of work doesn't support last year. Last year was an anomaly. So we'd have to kind of look and say he's not actually that good. Anyways, if you want to say that, I guess that's fine. Again, though, I don't want CJ Stroud either. And no, it didn't take him a full half of a season. It took him until week 3 before he had his big game. But even then, he was wildly inconsistent. He had 2 bad games, 3 good games, 2 bad games, 4 good games, 3 bad games, 2 good games, 1 bad game. So, I don't want to have this picture of like Jordan had a kind of a good second half of the year, although some of it was bad. CJ Stroud's just elite. Like, no, not exactly. 9 of 17 games were good for CJ Stroud. That's half. Now, it wasn't exactly front-loaded, all his bad games like it was with Jordan, but doesn't that kind of give you more confidence in Jordan? Because once that switch went on, he was better than Stroud? More consistent than Stroud, or no? Guess not. Again, I think Stroud's awesome. I'm just saying, I would just like it if we could be a little bit more consistent here.
Yeah, I see. I like Jordan Love. Like, I think what we saw towards the tail end of last season.
By the way, as far as the odds thing, it's really not that crazy. First of all, who do you even have to win the thing? There's not a massive amount of options. And so in order to win, you've got to pick, first of all, a team that's you expect to be successful with a quarterback that has elite high-level potential, like a guy that could be the number one guy, because that's what we're asking. Dak Prescott can have, pretty good this, that, or the other. He's not going to be the number one quarterback. Jared Goff, he could be a top 5 quarterback. He's not going to be the number one guy. He's not going to be the Mahomes of that season. I think Jordan has that ability. And he also has the supporting cast. He has the play caller. He has a team that's going to get into the playoffs. Everything is there to support that. So it's not that crazy.
Season, which, he was completing like 70% of his passes. I think it was like 18 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was playing at an MVP level. But if you're talking like, 12-1, no. If he's like 25-1, I actually absolutely smash that. I'm at least checking that out. But I still think I would take him, and I'm not just talking about going forward, because that's a given the age and the relative ceiling. But I still think I would take him to win me a game and like just give me the week 1, win me week 1 for 2024. I think I'm taking Jordan Love over Dak. I really am. I love the way he played down the stretch last season. He almost beat the San Francisco 49ers.
Yep.
Except he threw an ugly interception.
I didn't want to mention that, Breach.
Sorry.
I didn't want to mention that.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy though, and if Brock Purdy wasn't number 2, I think more people might be talking about the fact that not only is Jordan Love in the top 10, but guess who he's ahead of? 1 spot,
Aaron Rodgers.
And so I could see some Jets fans where, that's just, I love that ranking because that's juicy, saying, hey, look, the Packers said, we're done with you, Aaron. I'm going to keep Jordan Love. And now you could argue that Jordan Love going into 2024, that maybe you'd rather have him than Aaron Rodgers because...
Interesting, isn't it? If anybody would have said something like that, something so outlandish that it's not impossible for Jordan Love to be better than Aaron Rodgers. If you said that last year, you got absolutely crucified by, again, probably 40% of Packer fans and 99% of non-Packers fans. How dare you? The only thing that there is to know is that Aaron Rodgers was, and always will be elite. Any problems the Packers had in 2022, zero of which were Aaron Rodgers. It was Matt LaFleur being garbage. He had no weapons. He had no help. He had a terrible GM. That was the only reason they were struggling. It wasn't Rodgers. When he throws little, lobbing passes to, Detroit Lions defensive ends. Was it Lions? I think it was the Lions. That's not Rodgers' fault. That was Bakhtiari's fault. He wasn't in the right spot. He was supposed to be, out of the end zone or whatever. When he's refusing to see the field, throw to the right guy, throw in rhythm, that's not his fault. That's everybody else's fault. And if you look at that and say that that's not very good, and I think a guy as talented as Jordan Love that, has the ability and has shown the ability to kind of throw in rhythm and stuff could actually outperform Jordan Love. That was just insane. And yet now we sit in 2024, and a lot of people seem to be willing to acknowledge that it's not impossible. Which, by the way, this is a different conversation. Before, it was impossible that Jordan Love could even be better than Aaron Rodgers was in 2022 when Aaron Rodgers was a very mediocre quarterback. He was not good by any metric. Now we're having a serious discussion about Jordan Love just being better than current Rodgers, which is assuming that Rodgers would not be bad. Right? We're talking about what do we think Jordan's going to be going into the season and healthy and ready to rock and roll. Right now, Jordan is ranked higher by some people, probably quite a few people, than Aaron Rodgers. Interesting. You might ask yourself, do you ever get tired of being right? The answer is no. Look, it's kind of like I mentioned before. You have to make a decision on Jordan Love in terms of where you think things are at. Do you think that the second half of last season was a complete fluke? If yes, then he's a terrible quarterback. If no, well, I guess there's two options here. One is you think that that's going to be consistent, that he's going to be bad for a half and then good for a half, which is a weird stance. The other is, no, I think he's actually just quite good. Kind of trying to split the baby doesn't make any sense. No, I mean, the second half was real, but I still feel like discounting him for the first half, even though it has nothing to do with the future, just because I feel like it, that's stupid. And so when I see stuff like Michelle Majuziak or whatever, referenced her now a couple times, doing her rankings, and she has Jordan Love 13th behind, for example, Kyler Murray, who has now been in the league for, 5 years? Has had 2 good years, quote unquote, which was in 2020 and 2021. He already has serious injury concerns at the age of not even 27, which was a concern coming in because of his size. The guy hasn't really played a full season since 2021. And you're going to put him ahead of Jordan Love. Why? Why would you do that exactly? You've got Matthew Stafford ahead of him. You talk about injury issues. This guy is about to medically retire soon. Again, CJ Stroud is borderline top 5. She has him at 7. But based on what, I don't know. I mean, I honestly think a lot of this is bitterness. Again, she's a 49ers fan. So, yeah, CJ Stroud, you get your flowers, all that stuff. Packers, no, screw them. Refuse to believe that they've got something in Jordan Love. Again, you have to make a decision because first half of the season, he was a bad quarterback. Second half of the season, he was maybe the best quarterback in football. Saying he's the 13th best quarterback really doesn't make any sense. He's either 25th or he's top 5, or you have to explain to me how he ends up being something in between. How does that happen? Because he's never been anything in between. Anyways, them's my thoughts. I got to get out of here. It is way too late. You all have a good rest of your day. I'll talk to you tonight, tomorrow, whatever. Have a good one. Bye-bye.